Hi everyone, we have a lot of vocab today, which is why I have this loose leaf paper here. There's a lot of vocab, so I'm going to be typing it because it's a lot of words, and I figured typing would be a lot easier for you all to read than the handwriting on my iPad. But remember, you can pause this at any time if you need to write something down, or if I'm probably going to type faster than you can write, so just pause it anytime you need some more time to write. So today, we are doing introduction to polynomials. So our first vocab word of the day is monomial. And if you know your prefix mono, then that means one. So a monomial only has one term, and that is something like 3x. Next vocab word is binomial, which the prefix bi, think bicycle, 2 wheels. That means we would have two terms. So two things being added or subtracted together. Example of that could be x squared plus 7. We have x squared and we have the 7, two things being added together. Next would be a trinomial. Tricycle has 3 words, or 3 wheels, so a trinomial would have 3 terms. Example of that could be 3x plus 2y squared minus 10. Then that brings us to what the rest of this unit is on, and that is polynomial. Prefix poly, like polygon, has multiple sides. Polynomial is many terms. It has to have at least one. So a monomial is technically a polynomial. But if I say polynomial, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a monomial. It can have 1 term, 2 term, 3 terms, 7 terms. This is just the overarching word that we use for polynomials, to not specify exactly how many, just the general form. So now we're going to go through different parts of a polynomial. Here I have a polynomial. So if you want to go ahead and kind of draw this on your paper, we're going to identify these different pieces and define them. So here, in this first part here, this 2 in front of the 2x to the third, this is called the leading coefficient. And what the leading coefficient is remember, a coefficient is the number in front of a variable, the number in front being multiplied. This one is special because it's not just any coefficient, it's the leading coefficient. And it is the coefficient of the largest degree. So the leading coefficient, that's our vocab word, is the coefficient of the largest degree. And you might wonder, what is the largest degree? Well, degree, so I would say this is a 3rd degree polynomial because 3 is my biggest exponent. So whatever the degree is, that's our largest exponent. I'll make this bigger. So degree is our largest exponent. So find your largest exponent, and then the number that's in front of that variable, that is your leading coefficient. And last one here at the top is this plus 12 at the end. You might know this word already, but that is our constant term. And that is just The plain number is what I call it, and it never has a variable. You can kind of remember it because it stays the same no matter what, because there's no variable. Constant stays the same. And then lastly, all these arrows, there's 4 of them pointing to 4 pieces of our polynomial here, and that is just telling us the number of terms. So the number of terms is just however many pieces number of monomials, the different pieces being added or subtracted together. So here we had 4 things being added or subtracted together, 4 monomials. So that would be 4 terms. All right, next we have our next vocab word, standard form. Standard form is when the terms are written from largest degree to smallest degree. So that's going to be our x to the 4th, then x to the 3rd, then x squared, then x, and then our constant term. So they go in order from highest exponent to lowest exponent. So I'm going to write out a polynomial here, x plus 3x to the 4th minus 2x to the 2nd plus 3x to the 3rd minus 7. And we need to rewrite this in standard form. So to write something in standard form, all you have to do is put the highest exponent first, so that will be our positive 3x to the 4th. X would be x to the 3rd, so we have a 3x to the 3rd. X is x to the 2nd. Bring the sign with it, so this is a minus 2x to the 2nd. And then our plain x, and then the minus 7. So it goes in order, highest exponent to lowest exponent. It's really helpful to get used to writing things like that, because if it says, like if you were taking the Regents and it says write your answer in standard form and you didn't, you would lose a whole point for that. Even if it's just a 2-point problem, you'd lose a whole point, which kind of stinks because you knew what you were doing. You just forgot to write it in standard form. So make sure you write things in standard form. Okay. Last of the new vocabs here. So these are special names for polynomials based on the degree. So we can name things based on the number of terms. That's our monomial, binomial, trinomial. But we can also name things based on the degree. So we're going to make a little table here with degree, example, and what we call it. So if the degree is 0, that would be something like x to the 0, which is just the number. Well, x to the 0 is 1, but this, if you thought of it as 6x to the 0, that would equal 6. That's why the degree is 0. The name for this, we already talked about, plain number, constant. If the degree is 1, this is x to the 1st power. You should know this one already. It is linear. Think of your y equals mx plus b. Then 2nd degree is an x squared, and that is a quadratic, which we'll look at a lot this year. Then 3rd degree, we have x to the 3rd, and that is a cubic. Cubic because if we have x to the 3rd, you can say it as x cubed, so that's a cubic function. Then we have x to the 4th, which is fourth degree, and that we call a quartic function, quartic. Then we have x to the fifth, so a fifth degree function, and that is quintic, quintic. The ones that are most important are these first four. The other ones we don't really use that much, but they could definitely ask you them. But the first four are definitely the ones that come up frequently. Anything bigger than that, 6, 7, 8, we just call it a sixth degree, seventh degree, eighth degree. There's no special name. All right, so the last part of the notes here, we are going to name with the degree. So first degree, second degree, third degree, those special names that we just learned, and the number of terms. So first we have x squared plus 2x plus x squared plus 2x plus 3. And this, so it has 3 terms, and the highest degree is x squared. So remember, x squared was a quadratic function. So I'm going to call this a quadratic trinomial because it has a x squared as the largest term and 3 individual terms. This was supposed to go over here. Then our next one, sorry about that, we have x minus 7. So it has just an x, so degree is 1, which means it is linear. And then there's 2 things there, an x and a negative 7, so that would be a binomial. Last example, we have 8 plus 7x to the third minus 5x to the fourth. Please notice this is not written in standard form. Look, the x to the fourth, our highest degree, is all the way at the end. So we'd want to flip that around. But because x to the fourth is its highest degree, that would be a quartic function. So I'm going to write quartic, a quartic, and then there's 3 terms again. So a quartic trinomial. All right, it's important that you know these vocab words. They come up in a lot of problems, so make sure you know these, and we will be using them in a game later. So you definitely want to know them if you want a good chance at winning the game. All right, have a great day, everyone.